This video is going to give a general outline of how to find things, or if you prefer, what the important things are inside of our Canvas pages for differential equations. So first of all, I've got this set up as student view, so this should be exactly what you see if you're on an internet browser. If you're using the Canvas app, you have access to all the same stuff, but the format is a little bit different in terms of what you see. All right, so first of all, things to look for. The last two announcements to the course through Canvas I have displayed up here at the top. I do try to make sure that the titles are relatively indicative of what's going to be inside the body of that announcement. And since I have a tendency to forget to do good class announcements while we're all together in class, I will typically put class announcements all the time up here in Canvas. And note, of course, that also helps those of you if you either dozed off while I was giving an announcement in class, came to class late, or just missed class period. Okay, you still get all the information, and it's all in one place. You can look it up in the past. Look up past announcements, excuse me. All right, so this stuff, these buttons will eventually all be live. Currently, the chapter 2 through chapter 7 buttons are not live yet, and that is mainly because of, as of the recording of this video, I don't have the actual pages that are going to be attached to those buttons fully fleshed out yet. But they will be live once we get to those topics. Now, each of these buttons are going to go somewhere. This first button says Syllabus and Other Details. It's going to pop us over to the section in Canvas that talks about syllabus stuff. This one here, which says Course Materials, Notes, Quizzes, Homework, this is our quick links, general information stuff. This one pulls you directly to test. Right now you don't need it, but when you get close to a test, you definitely like that. This one here at this point, we're probably past, but this gives you information about review topics such as algebra, calculus, such as derivatives and integrals. Okay? And then we have the actual start of differential equations, which is the chapter 1 information. There is actually two other links on this page. One is here, and this link is to the temporary page that we had before the semester started. The only reason I left that there was in case there was something in the temporary page that you really liked and were having trouble finding, and the actual real Canvas page for this course, you could go back and find it. But I'm not actually expecting you to need that unless there was something you really liked. This big title picture up here is also a button, and this button takes you to where everything down here is housed. Okay, so personally I like these buttons because they take you directly to whatever the button title says, but if you want to see everything all at once, you totally can. Okay, so let's actually look to see what happens here. So I'm going to open that up in a new tab. So this button goes to the same place that modules would. So everything is housed over in modules. We were currently just at course navigation, which is like our menu page. Okay? So one of the things you can do, and I actually really like doing that, is to push on the button that says collapse all. Why? Because when you have each of these modules fully expanded, it can be overwhelming with how much stuff there actually is. So let's go through each of these things. The one that says start here, let's face it, that one is not one you probably ever need to get. Course navigation comes back to this one, which is nice and interesting, but once you're down here where all the info is, you probably don't need it. And this is the before the semester started page. Okay? Now, the quick links page, this one is one I expect people probably will use every day that they're actually accessing Canvas for our course. And notice it's got some of the quick things that you would care about. It's got office hours and links to the various tutoring centers. Oop, I need to update that. It's also got the link to the Discord channel, or really the Discord server for our class, and that should be a doesn't die link. Okay, and various links of useful information. This link here takes you to the handouts page for our course. I've actually gone ahead and preloaded all the handouts that I currently have. I will update this if I create any new handouts this semester, but they're actually all up here right now. The only one to watch out for, they are titled here by chapter, is numerical methods, is in both chapters 1 and 3, and I went ahead and just put all of that information together here. So when we're in section chapter 1, specifically section 1.4 for Euler's method. The full handout packet is right here. There's also more information right here, including a calculator program. But then the rest of this will be when we're dealing with chapter 3. Class notes and videos if we have them. So for this one here, we've got the notes. I went ahead and tagged what day we covered these notes, and these are the full complete notes for each section. I go ahead and upload these notes once we finish the section, just so we don't have a part 1, part 2, part 3, etc., just because that irritates me. No particular reason past that. These here were the pre-class videos that I asked you guys to watch for each section. That way you can go back and have a direct link to each of them as well. And I went ahead and already put in the ones that we've got for chapter 2 as well. The chapter 3 one is not a pre-class video. This actually was, this is probably now several years ago. These were several videos on the higher order numerical methods where we had to have class canceled those days, and I went ahead and just recorded the whole time that we would normally be in class, plus lots of extra stuff. So I'm not expecting you guys to go through and watch these, but they do have everything we'll cover in class plus a little bit more. Then we have specifically the different assignments. So we've got quizzes and activities, projects, tests, and homework. So in terms of the quizzes and activities, we actually have a number of quizzes that are Canvas quizzes that are designed to be done before you get to the homework for each section, just to make sure you've got the key points of each topic. They're not put in yet. I probably need to go ahead and do that. And then we've got some that would be for in-class quizzes we might have, or in-class activities we might have. We also have some extra things that don't really fit well in terms of quizzes or activities. So these are just some other links that are, in terms of grade-wise, thrown in with the quiz grade. In terms of homework, the homework page gives you the directions. It reminds you on how to convert your homework into one PDF file. Gives you directions on terms of formatting for anything that you would write out of the textbook. And in terms of the actual homework itself, you've got this chart down here that's going to tell you when it's due. It tells you when the submissions are. And once we get closer to a test, I'll actually go ahead and post the solutions for some of these homework sets. If it's a WebWork set, the solution will become available over in WebWork. So for example, anything that doesn't have the buzzword paper after it is an assignment over in WebWork. So all of these would have their solutions over in WebWork. This one here, if you click on this guy, notice that little symbol that has the arrow and then like a tray. That actually tells you this is going to be a PDF that you download. Where you upload this file is actually right over here. Okay. This one I'll post the solutions to once we get closer to a test. There's only a handful of these guys that are actually assignments out of the books or adapted questions from the book. I went ahead and typed them all up in a PDF, and then you can, once you work on them, you can go ahead and upload them at that link that says upload. Projects that list out all the projects. I don't have all of the projects totally finished yet. Specifically, Project 3 and Project 5 are still upcoming. And this here gives you various details about these different projects. And then in terms of tests, and this is the same page that you would get sent to. If you clicked on test, please note where we were currently going through in the module would be what you would see in terms of course materials. So course materials jumps you straight right to here. Okay? But if you clicked on test, you would actually go straight to this page. So in terms of the test, we have 3 tests and then a final exam. For each of these, you're given information, which is when the test is, when we'll in-class review for the test, and then extra information, specifically the study guide once it's made, and then some sample questions that you can go and look over, work on before the actual test itself. And so these will be updated when we get closer to each test. Only thing to point out here, while we do have the date and time for our final exam set, we do not have the location set. Since we are not a common final exam course, our location should be our same classroom unless it's just bizarre this semester. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and skip this next module for now, And instead, I'm going to skip down. So this next one is review and background materials. So this one here is some general resources in terms of things like algebra and calculus resources. So notice here it's got a bunch of different things. It's got various things in terms of just being a good college student, but it's all got links to tutoring and algebra and trigs, derivatives and integrals and other tutorials online. This one here is actually a link to a previous Calculus 2 course that I taught now a number of semesters ago, and it has all the resources there if you want to use any of them. And this one here, just because most people are not taught integration by parts in this much easier and quicker way of doing it, I went ahead and recorded a little video that talks about integration by parts and a way to do it that is extraordinarily slick and fast, as opposed to the standard way that most people will explain it to you back in Calc 2 using the UDV/DUV method. Okay. So that deals with review. This here is where you'll get sent if you click on Getting Started Review Topics. Okay. Now, what about this first one with Syllabus? That first one with Syllabus is actually the very last guy right down here. And it talks about all sorts of stuff. This one talks about what to expect for our course. This one, what to expect for our course. Talks about different techniques. This here's a little YouTube video I found that was a really nice intro to what it means to be differential equations. And it also talks about what I plan to do in our actual class. This is actually, a lot of this is taken straight from that temporary page that we had on our course prior to the start of the semester. This one here talks about what sort of time frame you should plan on in terms of dealing with our class and course materials outside of the actual classroom. So this is the same office hours and tutoring page as before. Information about the textbook, being nice to your fellow classmates. Then syllabus stuff. This is a copy of the syllabus with hyperlinks. So this one here is the actual PDF syllabus, and then this one goes down into, which is essentially the PDF syllabus copied and pasted. It's a little bit different. It's expanded out a little bit more. It's got a bunch of links to all the different things inside of Canvas itself, but that would be, roughly speaking, the Syllabus Plus. Okay. And then these are broken out specifically for the university's academic integrity policy and what it means with a math class. Technology, in case we need it for us, as long as we stay face-to-face, you need to be able to access Canvas, and if you can do that, you should be good. And then what happens if you get sick or you have some sort of emergency? General course resources, including what I plan to cover each day. This is a tentative schedule. No, it probably won't get updated if we fall behind or get ahead, but this is the general outline of what I expect to cover each day, including when we have holidays. And down here are different tech how-to guides. So for Poll Everywhere, that so far we've used almost every day in class. Zoom, which so far we haven't used at all and we'll only use if we have to go online for a class day. And Ziteboard, which we haven't used yet, and I'm not sure if we will or not. But if we decide to use it, this would be the how-to guide with that one. Okay? And so that would be all the stuff related to syllabus. Now, on to the one we skipped. So this one here is going to be information about each chapter. And so far you can only see chapter 1 as of the time of recording of this video. As we move on to each chapter, the next ones will open up. I probably won't open up the next pages for each chapter until we get really close to that chapter, just because I have to move due dates if we're not, or dates if we're not exactly where I think we're going to be. So let's go ahead and look to see what's on this one. So chapter 1, in terms of the stuff that we've covered so far that hasn't been reviewed. So first of all, at the beginning of this page, it has all of the quick links, including the one to how-to videos, which this video will be on. And if you're watching this video, that page has already been made visible in the Canvas courses, even though it's not visible as of the recording of this video. Okay. So then each day, so this is, you'll have a title, what week we're in. So week 1, each day it'll say what the date is and what I'm planning to cover that day. So on August 24th, I plan just to do an introduction of what the course was and some review topics. After class, I will adjust this to what we actually covered. There's always going to be this very first section that says what you should do to prepare for the class. So to prepare for this first class, I asked you to take this survey, read through the syllabus, make sure you can log into Poll Everywhere, look over derivatives and integrals, and watch these two videos. Okay? Now, what to expect in class? This is just a summary of what I'm planning to do. And notice this one here, I didn't update it. Originally, I was hoping to get a little bit into chapter 1, and that didn't actually end up happening that day. Then I'll actually post things that either we'll need to use together in class or that we did in class. In this case, in class, we actually took quiz 1, and on that first day, I actually printed that out for you guys. Okay? And then down here, assignments and resources. So in terms of the resources, this is a direct link to where the lecture notes are posted and a direct link to where the handouts are posted. These aren't a link to the specific notes and handouts for the class. It's a link to that page where I'll post the specific notes. Okay, that's one of the reasons why I make sure to label what section we covered, so you can, when you go to these places, you can go and find what we grabbed for that day. Same deal here. So then if we go a little bit further on, I want to get past where the syllabus quiz was due. Alright, so the syllabus quiz was due here, so I'll go ahead and keep it here. So notice here in terms of preparation for the class, it says, remember, don't forget the syllabus quiz is due today, so don't forget to do that one. Make sure you can log into Poll Everywhere. That one's kind of a standard since we've had Poll Everywhere questions each time. I'll probably go ahead and drop that one off here soon, since it's now been several times that we've had it up there. And this one here asks to go ahead and look at these two pre-class videos. This one I noted that was the same one that we did previously, and this was just a small video that talked about what's going on with our direction field, also known as a slope field, which we finished that day. And this one here is an introduction to Euler's method, which we just started that day. And then handouts for class, whether you want to print them out or have them in an electronic copy, these would be things that we would be using for the class or are supplemental for that day. And in this particular case, I did plan on having an in-class activity, but we ended up ending class right before we got there. Okay, and then notice the same resources here. And this one I actually need to update right after recording this video because we have one more day that we're going to be working on chapter 1. Okay, and that right there is the basics in terms of what you see in our Canvas courses or our Canvas pages. Notice what I would recommend as the key things to look at. The key things I would recommend to look at are the course materials. And remember what the course materials are. They were these guys right here. They are the quick links to all of the assignments and all of the various handouts of one type or another. And I would also recommend the quick jump to each of these chapter informations. This quick jump, and I'm going to go ahead and open this in a new tab as well, to chapter 1, is directly to the page not in the module itself, where you can scroll down to whatever day we're currently going to be looking at. Okay? And that's the crash course of our Canvas pages.